Warning seniors. The 5 secret signs someone is silently leaving you before they ever say a word. What's the very first thing someone does when they fall out of love? It's almost never slamming doors or shouting or demanding space. In fact, it's usually far more terrifyingly quiet. Something shifts almost imperceptibly at first. And if you're not paying extremely close attention, you might miss the earliest, most heartbreaking signs, the very moments when their heart begins to silently pull away, even as the words and routines in your life stay exactly the same. This isn't about drama. It's not about wild accusations or painful guessing games. This video is about uncomfortable clarity. Because when love truly begins to fade, it leaves a trail, a soft, subtle, yet undeniably real trail of behavioral changes, increasing emotional distance and withheld connection. These are the silent tells that reveal the true story, even when their lips remain sealed. In this video, we're going to bravely walk through 5 subtle, yet deeply telling signs that often appear first when someone no longer truly loves you. These aren't speculative theories. They're based on real, often painful emotional patterns seen in long-term relationships, marriages, and close partnerships. By the end of this, you'll have a clearer, perhaps unsettling, but ultimately empowering sense of what's truly happening, what truly matters, and what your next courageous step might be. Stay until the very end, because one of these signs, a critical one that often goes unnoticed, could shatter and then rebuild how you view your relationship entirely. You deserve honesty, not just from others, but fiercely from yourself. Let's take a closer look at how love, when it starts its silent departure, almost always knocks in the same quiet, undeniable ways. Secret sign number 1, the death of curiosity. One of the earliest and quietest signs that someone is emotionally detaching is that they simply stop being curious about your world. Think back. Not long ago, they might have eagerly asked how your doctor's appointment went, what your grandkids were up to, or even how you'd been sleeping lately. They leaned in. But now they barely lift their eyes when you speak. They offer no follow-up questions. They seem utterly disinterested in the small, vibrant stories that make up your day. That chilling change isn't just about being distracted or busy. It's the cold hand of emotional disconnection taking hold. Let me tell you about Edna and Paul, married for nearly 40 years. Edna used to tell Paul everything. How her roses were finally blooming, what the neighbor's dog had done, how her book club was getting heated over a mystery novel. Paul used to listen intently. He'd laugh, nod, throw in a comment or two. But somewhere along the line, that vital connection died. She'd start a story, and he'd barely look up from the television. His answers became grunts or worse, nothing at all. Edna felt it before she could even name it, this heavy, isolating quiet between them. It wasn't just a lack of words. It was the chilling absence of genuine interest. When someone truly loves you, they lean in. They lean into your world. They genuinely want to understand you, even in the smallest, most mundane things. They remember your appointments. They care deeply about what upset you that morning. But when that fierce, protective caring fades, they begin to emotionally check out. And it rarely comes with anger. It comes with a suffocating silence, a kind of emotional vacancy that leaves you feeling profoundly lonely, even in a shared room. Here's the brutal truth. People don't stop asking about your life because you're boring or your stories have changed. They stop asking because they no longer feel emotionally invested in you. You become background noise instead of the main character in their day. That sounds harsh, I know. But if you're starting to feel like your voice doesn't land anymore, like your life has become irrelevant to them, it might be time to ask, when did they stop being curious about me? And why did I miss this terrifying shift until now? Because when someone no longer loves you, they don't always say it, but they scream it in what they no longer ask and what they no longer seem to care to hear. Secret sign number 2, the vanishing patience. When someone's love begins its quiet retreat, their patience is often the very first casualty. The same small quirks they used to smile at, laugh off, or gently correct suddenly seem to irritate them beyond measure. You might be telling a familiar story or asking a simple question about the calendar or groceries, and you're met with a sharp sigh, a clipped tone, or that cold, dismissive look that screams, Why are you bothering me? What used to feel like understanding now feels like perpetually walking on fragile eggshells. Take a moment and think about someone like Helen, aged 76, who had always been a little forgetful. Her husband, Richard, used to tease her kindly about it. He'd patiently help her find her glasses or remind her for the fifth time where she left her phone. It was part of their comforting rhythm. But then it shifted violently. Suddenly, Richard was snapping at her. He'd mutter under his breath or roll his eyes. One day, when she simply asked for help logging into her online banking, he just bit out, "You need to figure it out yourself." Helen didn't forget that moment. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was so terrifyingly different from how he used to be. When someone is deeply in love, they offer boundless grace. They know your quirks, your habits, your weak spots, and they navigate them gently, with warmth. But when that love truly fades, even the smallest requests feel like unbearable demands to them. The shift is subtle but powerful. Where there once was understanding, there is now an undeniable resistance. And it's not about what you did wrong. It's about how they've begun their emotional withdrawal. Patience, that precious thread of connection, is often the first to snap. You might start second-guessing yourself. Am I being too needy? Am I asking too much? But the truth is, it's not about you needing less. It's about how their willingness to show up for you has fundamentally changed. They're no longer emotionally investing, and that raw truth shows up in the tone of their voice, the way they interrupt, the subtle eye rolls you catch, even the heavy silence that follows a perfectly normal question. Do not ignore that shift. It's not just moodiness or stress. It could be the earliest, most painful sign that their heart is no longer where it once was. And if you're constantly feeling like you're a bother instead of a cherished partner, that's something you absolutely deserve to acknowledge. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I urgently recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Secret sign number 3, the evaporation of shared time. When love begins its slow, agonizing disappearance, time starts to vanish right along with it. Not time in the sense of hours or days on a calendar, but the kind of time that feels truly shared, deeply meaningful, and consciously chosen. You'll terrifyingly notice that they stop making plans with you, not because they're genuinely busy, but because their desire for your company has withered. They used to sit eagerly beside you during your favorite shows, or join you on the porch in the cool evening. Now they linger in other rooms. They leave the house more often, without even a courtesy ask if you'd like to come along. And even when they do stay, their body is physically present, but their attention, their spirit is horrifyingly absent. Think about someone like Ray, 68, who cherished his morning routine with his wife Linda for years. They'd sip coffee side by side at the kitchen table, talk about the weather, the news, or simply sit in comfortable silence. It didn't matter what they said. It was about the profound act of being there together. But slowly, devastatingly, that changed. Linda started waking up earlier, heading out for long, solitary walks alone. The coffee was already made, the table empty when Ray arrived. She said she needed time for herself. Ray understood at first, until it kept happening, day after agonizing day. He started to feel like a forgotten guest in his own marriage. When someone truly loves you, they carve out time for you because time, in its purest form, is a declaration of love. But when that love weakens, so does their intrinsic desire to be close. And often, they won't offer an explanation. They'll say they're tired. They'll say they have errands. They'll say nothing at all. But the stark truth is, people make time for what profoundly matters to them. And if you keep finding yourself painfully alone, even when they're physically in the same house, it might not be by accident. They stop inviting you to do small things. They don't ask what your day looks like. They start saying, "You go ahead," or "I'll just stay here." And with each quiet, chilling decision, the emotional distance grows. It doesn't take a big fight or a dramatic announcement. All it takes is enough mornings apart, enough dinners where you eat alone, Enough nights when they fall asleep with their back turned. If you're feeling agonizingly left behind in a relationship that once felt so deeply shared, do not ignore that feeling. Because when someone no longer loves you, the time they give you isn't just reduced, it's systematically removed. And that kind of silence screams louder than words ever could. Secret sign number 4, emotional withholding, the inner lockdown. There comes a chilling point, often quietly, when someone simply stops letting you in. Not just into their day, but into their deepest, most vulnerable inner world. You used to be the confidant, the trusted recipient of their worries, their hopes, their raw thoughts about life or work or family. But now it feels like they're wearing an impenetrable mask. They answer with surface-level comments. They say things like, "It's fine," or "Don't worry about it." But your gut screams that something is profoundly different. Something vital is being kept behind closed doors. And the most unsettling part? You no longer feel like their safe place, their emotional sanctuary. Let's talk about someone like Gloria, aged 71. Her partner, Samuel, had always been a beacon of openness with her. He'd vent after a long, frustrating phone call with his brother. He'd talk about his deepest fears when his knee surgery was coming up. He even used to call her his best friend. But over the past year, that sacred bond shattered. When his cousin tragically passed away, Gloria didn't find out until a week later. When she, heartbroken, asked why he hadn't told her, he just mumbled, "I didn't want to burden you." But she knew, with crushing certainty, that wasn't the real reason. It was simply easier for him to carry it alone than to invite her back into his inner world. That shift doesn't happen overnight, but when someone no longer truly loves you, they begin to close the emotional doors. They still talk, yes, but not about what truly matters, not about what's real and raw. You begin to feel like a mere roommate instead of a cherished partner. The big decisions are made without your input. The thoughts you once shared intimately over dinner now sit quietly, hidden, in their head. And you don't even fully grasp what's missing until you feel the vast, growing chasm of distance between you. People don't just stop talking. They stop trusting you with their truth. And that hurts more than any silence, because it means they no longer see you as the person they turn to when life gets heavy or uncertain. They might still be kind, still do the dishes, still sit beside you in church. But the vital warmth is gone. The heart-deep closeness is gone. And when you try to reach for it, when you courageously ask, "What's wrong?" or desperately try to connect, they pull back. Not always with anger, but with a chilling avoidance. They say, "I'm just tired," or "You wouldn't understand." But what they're truly screaming is, "I've already turned inward. I've already begun to disconnect." If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Secret sign number 5, the physical retreat. When emotional closeness begins its devastating fade, the body, with its silent language, often follows. You'll notice fewer hugs, less eye contact, no more lingering touches on the arm or a spontaneous kiss on the forehead for no reason. Even sitting together on the couch starts to feel like two strangers merely sharing space, not connection. Physical closeness, for many couples, is where unspoken love is kept vibrantly alive. So when that disappears, it doesn't just feel lonely. It feels like the very love itself has physically stepped back or vanished. Think about Martin and Alice, married for 45 years. For most of their lives, they were naturally affectionate, holding hands during walks, rubbing each other's shoulders after a long day. Martin always used to pull Alice in for a quick, tender kiss before bed. But after his retirement, something fundamentally changed. He became quieter, more distant. He'd turn his back in bed. He'd subtly shrug off her hand when she tried to rest it on his knee while watching television. He simply stopped initiating any kind of touch. And slowly, agonizingly, Alice stopped reaching too, not because she didn't love him, but because she didn't know where she stood anymore. Physical touch is a primal language. It says, I'm here, care. I still choose you. You are still mine. And when someone no longer truly loves you, they stop speaking that language. They actively avoid it. They pull away. They stop reaching for your hand in public. They might even flinch ever so slightly when you lean in for a kiss. Subtle, yes, but it cuts devastatingly deep. And the longer it goes on, the harder it is to bridge that chasm. It's not always about passion or romance. It's about presence, reassurance, the profound feeling that even in silence, you are still wanted, still cherished. When that's gone, it's easy to question everything, to wonder if you've done something terribly wrong. But often, it isn't about what you did. It's about how they feel, and how they no longer feel drawn to you emotionally or physically. If you've noticed the warmth leaving the room when they walk in, or if your hugs feel more like polite gestures than genuine connection, it might be time to face what's no longer being said. Because when someone stops loving you, the body knows, and it starts showing you one chilling distance at a time. Final thoughts. Facing the truth, protecting your heart. Now that you've heard these 5, often painful signs, take a quiet, courageous moment to reflect. Maybe one of them stood out to you like a flashing red light. Maybe all of them did. The important thing isn't just recognizing the signs, but truly recognizing what they mean for you. Because when love begins its agonizing fade, we often feel it first, deep in our gut, long before we see it in words or undeniable actions. And yet, we second-guess ourselves. We minimize. We desperately tell ourselves not to overreact. But the truth is, emotional distance always leaves clues. Through silence, through avoidance, through a devastatingly shrinking sense of truly being known. If you've felt that shift, if you've been wondering whether what you're experiencing is real, it likely is. And you're not imagining things. You're feeling the stark, painful difference between being chosen and being merely tolerated. That's not something to ignore. That's something to bravely explore with honesty, with courage, and with profound compassion for yourself and for the dying embers of the relationship. None of this means all love is gone forever, or that things can't be repaired. But the first, most vital step is always seeing clearly. Because once you courageously recognize these patterns, you can stop blaming yourself. You can stop carrying the unbearable weight of a one-sided connection. And you can start asking the right, healing questions. Do I still feel emotionally safe here? Am I truly being treated with care? Do I still feel like I genuinely matter in this person's life? Remember, your peace is just as important as anyone else's comfort. And while it may sting, it may deeply hurt, to admit when someone's love is fading, it is always far more agonizing and damaging to keep pretending it isn't. You deserve real love, the kind that fiercely shows up, genuinely leans in, stays vibrantly curious, and keeps choosing you, day after day, year after year. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share which of these signs resonated most with you and what you plan to do about it. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you found this video insightful and helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.